Okay, welcome class. Good day everyone. Welcome to Engineering Drawing and Plans. This is the course and with the course code CEEDRP 1D. I am Engineer April Inahid and I will be your instructor for this course. And as a civil engineer by profession, I am excited to guide you through the principle and application of engineering drawing and plan interpretation. Okay, so this video lectures covers the essential concepts, principles, and techniques of isometric drawing. This is our learning objectives. At the end of the chapter, the learner should be able to first to construct isometric drawing of geometric figures and three-dimensional objects using standard engineering techniques. Two, apply the principles of isometric projection in creating accurate pictorial representation of engineering objects. Three, identify, interpret, and relate orthographic views and sectional drawing to their corresponding three-dimensional forms. And lastly, to demonstrate proficiency in sketching and constructing isometric drawing from given multi-view and sectional representation. Okay, now let's proceed the concept of isometric drawing. What is isometric drawing? Let's define isometric first. No? Let's define isometric drawing. So isometric drawing is a method of producing a pictorial view of an object that is a view that show three faces of the simultaneously. Okay, so isometric drawing is a technique used to create a three-dimensional pictorial view of an object on a two-dimensional surface. An isometric drawing is based on a three lines, and these three lines called axes, no? So which are used to show the three basic dimensions. We have the width, we have the height, and the depth. Isometric means equal measure so that there are three equal angles between the axes. Okay, so isometric drawing, basically this is a type of pictorial drawing used to represent a 3D objects on a two-dimensional surface. It shows the width, the height, and the depth simultaneously, allowing the viewer to visualize object shape in a single view. Okay, so now let's tackle the purpose of the isometric drawing. At the same time, the fundamental ideas, principle on understanding how to draw and why is it important. Okay, first we have here showing three faces simultaneously. Huh? So the three faces of isometric drawing. So here in the figures, we have figure A, B, and C. No, it shows three faces simultaneously. No, look at the figure A and B. No, A and B and C. It represents the width, the height, and the depth in one view. Okay, isometric drawing creates a three-dimensional appearance on a two-dimensional drawing surface and uses 30 degrees isometric axis and a vertical axis. And commonly, this is used in engineering, in architecture, construction, and manufacturing. Take note, class, that all horizontal lines must be drawn at a 30 degrees from the horizontal line. Okay? And the vertical lines remain completely vertical. And the angle between all three coordinate axes must equal to 120 degrees. Okay, so take note that one of the fundamental rules of isometric drawing is that all horizontal lines must be drawn at 30 degrees from the horizontal. And these lines from the left and right isometric axis. Now, so together with the vertical axis, they create the framework used to represent three-dimensional objects. Okay, so following these rules, consistent, proper proportions, and a realistic appearance in the drawing. Okay, so unlike orthographic drawings, which only shows one face of an object at a time, while isometric drawings present a normal, no, present a normal or more realistic visualization of the objects. And this makes it easier to understand objects' overall shape, size, and spatial relationship. Okay, so what is spatial relationship? Okay, so let's define the spatial relationship. No, this is no, refer to the way different features, surfaces, edges, and components of an objects no, are positioned relative to one another in three-dimensional space. Okay, so in engineering drawing, understanding no, spatial relationships help a person visualize how an object look. Huh? So how an object looks, how it parts connected, no, the parts connected to each other, and how it dimensions interact. Okay, so spatial relationship from the word space. Spatial relationship help us understand where each part of an object is located in relation to the other parts. So in isometric drawing class, make this relationship easier to see because they show three-dimensional at the same time. Okay, so let's have an example, no, para ma-visualize. Okay, so imagine a rectangular block with a cylindrical hole on the top and a slot on one side. So in these objects, the cylindrical hole is located at the center of the top surface. uh, and the slot is positioned on the right side of the blocks. And the top surface is above the front and the side surface. So the hole is directly above the slot but does not intersect it. No? So this positional relationship, now this describe the object's spatial relationships. Okay? So take note ha, in in an orthographic drawing, no, you need or you only need the front view, the top view and the right side view to understand where the hole and slot are located. However, in isometric drawing, you can see the height. Huh? You can see the height of the block, the position of the hole on the top surface, and the location of the slot on the side surface, all in a single view. No, that is isometric drawing. So this makes it easier to understand the spatial relationship among the objects features. Okay, so another example. Consider a simple staircase. Staircase. So, staircase, hagdan. So, when you step in B, or step B is above the step A, right? And step C is above step B. Now, each step is behind the previous step. So the way these steps are arranged relative to one another, no? So it represents their spatial relationship. Okay? So for the example, no, on the first example natin, if the block contains hole on its top surface and a slot on its right side, the relative position of these features, such as which features is above, below, beside, and behind one another. So it describes their spatial um, relationship. Okay, so isometric drawing helps us visualize this relationship in a single three-dimensional view. Okay, so principle of isometric drawing. Okay, so all horizontal lines must be drawn at a 30 degrees from the horizontal. Vertical lines remain completely vertical, and the angle between the three coordinate axes must equal to 120. So take a look at the axis there. Ah, so the y-axis to x-axis is 120 degrees, no? Kung nandito tayo sa baba, sa quadrant 3 and 4, no? So half of the circle or semicircle, no? So y-axis to x-axis, take a look at the lower portion, no? So the angle between this axis, this is equals to 120. Okay, and take a look at on the left side. So the axis Z, no, our vertical axis going to y-axis, no, at the axis below, no, y-axis below, no, it produce 120 degrees, no, and the other 120 degrees is from z-axis to x-axis, no, where x-axis is located at the lower right bottom, no? So that is the three coordinate axis that must be equal to 120 degrees. And the dimensions are measured along the isometric axis. Okay. So therefore, the isometric drawing, no? So the three principal axes are, no? Take note, the three principal axes are equally inclined, forming 120 degrees angles with each other. So the vertical axis remains upright while the other two axes are drawn at 30 degrees to the horizontal. No, unlike perspective drawings, isometric do not use vanishing points. So the object's proportions remain consistent throughout the drawing. Okay, so isometric drawing are widely used in engineering, architecture, and technical design because they provide a clear and accurate representation of an object shape, size, and spatial relationships. Okay, so therefore, isometric is a method of representing three-dimensional objects of two-dimensional surface, showing its length, showing its width, and the height in a single view, while maintaining proportional dimensions and using axes separated by 120 degrees. Okay, when it comes to dimensions, dimensions are measured along the isometric axis. And one of the fundamental principle of isometric drawing is that all dimensions must measured and lay out along isometric axis. So the three isometric axes represent the objects, no? They represents the length, the width, and the height. Where width, no, and height and the length is somehow our depth, no? So therefore, the three isometric axes, no, has a representation of its depth, its width, and the height. And these serve as the reference direction for constructing the drawing. Okay, when it comes to vertical axis, it represents the height. Okay, while the two inclined axes drawn at 30 degrees to the horizontal, and it represents the width, the depth, and the height of the objects. So when transferring dimensions from the orthographic drawing to isometric drawing, measurements are taken only along this axis. So pag sinabing only along this axis, no? So the vertical axis, okay, so represents the height. So dito tayo kukuha, no? Magbe-measure from this measurement, no? So this is our 0, then paakyat, no? For our vertical axis or vertical measurements. And for the horizontal measurements, no, dito sa gilid, no, in the left and in the right horizontal axis. Okay? So if you say 5 mm, so dito mag-start yung 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No? Okay, in the horizontal axis. Not here in horizontal line, kundi dito sa axis itself. Okay? So, example na natin. So, suppose an object has the following dimension. The, the width, no, has a 60 mm. The height is 50 mm. And the, the depth, okay, the depth is 80 mm. Okay, to construct the isometric drawing, our depth is 80 mm along one of the 30 degrees isometric. Okay, so let's say for example, nandito yung depth natin, no? Dito sa left side. Okay, and we will measure 80 mm, no? So, saan tayo magsisimula? Dito yung 0 natin. Then, dito, 10, 20, no? Let's say, for example, 10, 20, okay? So, pwede tayo dumiretso sa 80, no? Basta equally, ano lang siya, equally distributed. Okay, so, okay, let's say, for example, yung 80 natin. So, nandyan yung 80 natin. So, that is the depth na in one of the 30 degrees isometric axis. No? Okay. And then, that is one of the dimensions. So, another, we will measure the opposite 30 degrees isometric axis, which is our width, no? The opposite of the depth. Huh? So our width is 60 mm along the opposite 30 degrees isometric axis. Okay? So kanina 80 yung depth, ngayon 60 yung width. So the another opposite 30 degrees isometric, which is our depth. Ngayon, we will measure 50 mm for the vertical axis. So, yung 50 mm mag-start dito sa intersection. This is our 0. No? And then, we will count pataas. Okay. So, we have here 0, 10, 20, 30, no? By tens tayo. So, let's say, for example, our 50 mm vertical axis. Okay. So, nandito yung 50. So, assuming class na equally distributed siya. No? So, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So, that is our vertical axis. No? Again, on the left portion, so considering this is our 80 mm, no? Measures 80 mm along one of 30 degrees isometric axis, and we have 60 mm along the opposite 30 degrees isometric axis, and we have 50 mm along the vertical axis. So these measurements define the isometric box, no? That encloses the objects. So we have there a box. So mag-insert tayo. Okay, project lang natin yan dyan. So, we have here a line. Then another line. Okay, tugma siya, no? So, that is our 80 mm. And our height is same as 50 mm along the vertical axis. Okay. So, that is the parallel vertical axis. Okay, we will draw the another side of the box, huh, which is 60 mm along opposite side of 30 degrees isometric axis. Okay, so that is the parallel 60 mm axis. Okay, so let's have another parallel. Copy, paste. Yan. Okay. Okay, so what did you see, class? No, so we create, no, isometric box that encloses the objects, no? Okay, by using lines parallel to three axes, no? The 80 mm um along one of the 30 degrees isometric axis, and we have 60 mm, no? Okay. Oh, gumawa lang tayo ng parallel lines along the 30 degrees isometric axis, huh? And so on. Okay. So, only dimensions that are parallel to isometric axis can be measured directly, no? So we have vertical edges, we have horizontal edges parallel to 30 degrees axis. So therefore, uh, the depth, the width, and the height dimensions. Okay? So, however, no, inclined lines, diagonal features, and non-isometric lines, this cannot be measured directly along the axis. No? So, mamaya, i-discuss natin, no, itong inclined lines, diagonal features, and non-isometric lines. No? So, paano siya gawin? No? So, basically, class, their endpoints must first be located and then i-connect lang natin siya. No? Okay. So, overall, in isometric drawing, all measurements are taken along isometric axis. No? So we have two horizontal isometric axes, one in the left and one in the right, and another is the vertical axis. No? So, so always measure the width, the depth, and the height along the isometric axis. So never measure directly along inclined or non-isometric lines. Okay? So, proceed tayo, no? So, we have here figure A. So, in a given figure, identify the front, the top, and the right side view. No? So, let's first um, identify. The very first thing to do is to have the front view. Okay, so the first view to identify is the front view. Okay, let's examine the image on the slide and identify first the front view of these objects. Okay, so basically class, the importance why front view must identify first because the front view is considered the most important view in engineering drawings because it shows the object's general shape. Okay? So, pag sinabing front view, no, it has a width and a height. So, this width and height is more clearly than the other views. And it is usually selected uh, at the side that reveals the most details and features of the objects while minimizing hidden lines. So in orthographic projection, the front view is not chosen because it has a greatest width or height. No, instead, the front view is selected because it shows the most characteristics features of the objects and it requires the fewest hidden lines. Okay? So, proceed tayo. So, the first view to identify is the front view. Okay, so the front view should be the view that best describe the objects regardless of whether the width or the depth is longer. No? Pag sinabing depth, that is equivalent to the length. Okay? So first, when choosing the front view, consider consider the following. Okay? So first, select or show shows the most features and details. Now, in selecting the front view in um, orthographic drawing, let's talk about first the orthographic drawing. In selecting the front view in orthographic drawing, the front view is the most important view in orthographic projection because it serves as the primary reference for constructing the other views. No? So contrary to a common misconception that front view is not selected based on whether the width is longer than the depth. So instead, it should be chosen as the view that best describes the objects and communicate its shapes most effectively. Okay, so proceed tayo sa selecting the front view and or when selecting the front view, consider the following principles, no? So shows the most features and details, no? That is one. Consider, no, that this is the front view, no? Okay, when selecting the front view. So it shows the most features and details. So the front view should display the greatest number of visible features such as the holes, the slats, the groups, the steps, and the other important geometric details. A view that reveals more features, that reduces the need for additional explanations and allows the viewer to understand the objects more quickly. So for example, no, if a machine bracket has several holes on one face, so that face is usually chosen as the front view so that the hole are clearly visible. No? So that is one of the example. Now, pangalawa, it requires the fewest hidden lines. So hidden lines represent features that cannot be seen directly for the particular viewpoint. No? Excessive hidden lines can make a drawing difficult to read and interpret. So therefore, the front view should be selected to minimize the number of hidden lines whenever it possible. Okay. So number three, no, represent the objects in its normal or functional position. Okay, so the object should be shown as it normally, no, as it uh as it would normally appear in use in operations or assembly, and this helps us, no, the engineers, the builders understand the purpose, no, and operation on the project. So go, sige, simplihan natin yung example. So a drinking cup is shown standing upright, right? Not upside down. Okay. So another, a chair is shown resting on its leg, so not lying on its side. A machine component, no, is often shown in its installed position. Okay, so that's it. No? Number four provides the clearest understanding of the object shape. Okay, so the selection or the selected front view should always the viewer to recognize the overall form of the objects immediately. It should represent the object's profile and major features in the most descripted manner. Okay, so remember that when choosing a good front view, it should show the most features, no? The most important features and details. Pangalawa, it requires the fewest hidden lines. Pangatlo, represent the objects in its normal working position. And lastly, provide the clearest description of the object shapes and form. So therefore, when selecting the front view, so we do not simply choose the right side with the greatest width, or the depth. Instead, we select the view that best describe the objects. So the ideal front view clearly shows the important features, no? Minimizing hidden lines and represents the objects in its normal operating position and provides the viewer with the clearest understanding of the object's overall shape. Now, because the front view serves as the basis for the top and side views, choosing the correct front view is essential for creating accurate and effective engineering drawings. Okay? So, let's talk about front view. Okay, so with this specific figure, let's begin by identifying the front view of the objects. Observe the figure carefully and identify labeled surface that are visible from the front. So, ibig sabihin, class, as you can see on the figure, meron siyang labeled surface. We have letter A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That is labeled surface. Surfaces. Okay, so to identify the front view, no, imagine looking directly at one objects. No? Imagine looking directly at the objects from the direction indicated by the yellow arrow. So from the perspective, no, only the surface facing the viewer will be visible. So ano yung label surfaces that visible in the front view. Okay, so can you identify now? Okay, so in this figure, the visible faces are labeled B, D, F. So therefore, these faces makes up the front view of the object. So ito yung, excuse me. So ito yung um, bumubuo sa front view, no? Etong um, letter B and letter D and letter F. Okay. So we have now a front view. So excuse no sa interruption. Okay, for the top view, so once the front view has been established, no, the top view is projected directly above the front view. No? So take note that the front view shows objects width and the depth. No? Take note, the top view, no, shows the objects width and the depth. No? Again, the depth is the length of the objects. The width also is one of the dimensions of the objects. Okay, so by this, no, it helps visualize the arrangement of surface when viewed from above. Now, let's us identify the top view of the objects. Now, observe the figure carefully and identify the labeled surface that are visible from the top. Okay, so to identify the top, imagine looking directly at the objects. No? So, from the direction of the arrow, only the surface directly facing the observer are visible. So in this figure class, the visible faces are labeled A and C. Oh? So A and C, and that is our top view. So therefore, these faces make up the top view of the objects. Okay, so meron na tayong front view, meron na tayong top view. Now, going to the right side view. Huh? So right side view is projected to the right of the front view. No? It shows the objects, the height of the objects, and the depth of the objects. Meaning, no? By looking at the image or the figure, no? So it shows the object's height and the depth. So pag sinabing depth, it also represents the length of the objects. Also, provide details that may not visible in the front view. Okay? Now, let's us identify the right view of the objects. Observe the figure carefully and identify the labeled surfaces that are visible from the right side. Again, to identify the right side view, imagine looking directly at the objects from the direction indicated by the yellow arrow. So, from the perspective, only surface facing the viewer will be visible. Let's determine which labeled faces makes up the right side view. And this labeled are E and G. Okay, and that is the right side view. Okay? Okay, I hope na sundan, ano? So, we have here another figure, no? So, bilisan lang natin ito. So, identify the front view, top view, and right side view. Let's start with the top view, or rather, the front view. Okay, so let's start with the front view. So, take note, class, ha, that um, the front view is not chosen based on whether the width, no, based with on whether the width is longer than the depth or our length. No, instead it is selected because it provides, no, the front view is selected because it provides the clearest and the most descriptive representation of the object. So the location of the front view, okay? So based on the labeled surfaces, so we have here front view. So we have C, E, and G. Ito yung mga surface na bumubuo ng front view. Okay, another on the top view. No? So we have labeled A and B. Okay, so for the right side view on the yellow arrow, so it composes surface, letter D, and letter F. Okay, so take note also that the right side view is relative to the front view. Huh? So it depends on the projection method being used. So whether the first angle or the third angle projection. Okay? So now, after introducing the concept of isometric drawing, let me introduce to you the isometric lines, isometric axes, and non-isometric lines, their definition, characteristic, and their types. Okay? So let's start with isometric axes. The isometric axes are the three reference lines used to construct an isometric drawing. So these lines that serves as the foundations for an isometric drawing. Okay, so axis means to say we have vertical axis for the height of the objects. We have left axis, which is the width of the axis, and the right axis, which is the depth. So, yung left axis and right axis, so the left axis can be width and the depth, no? And the right axis can be also width and the depth depende sa the perspective of your front view. Okay? So, three reference lines. So, we have here red lines, pointing our isometric axis. Okay? Etong vertical lines. Uh, so, it represents the height of the objects. And these two horizontal lines, or the horizontal axis, we have left axis and the right axis. Okay, so take note also that the two axes are drawn at 30 degrees to the horizontals, while the third axis is drawn vertically. So the isometric axis serve as the framework of a isometric drawing. All measurements of the depth, the width, and the height are laid out along this axis. And that is an isometric axis. Okay, so remember that, ha? So, going to isometric lines. An isometric line is any line parallel, no? Parallel to one of the three isometric axes, no? For example, we have here the vertical edges, so this one, okay? So I make it red. Okay, vertical edges, the length of the edges, huh? And we have width and the depth. So saan yung width? No, this is part of the isometric lines. No, all of this. Huh? So any line parallel to one of the three isometric axes. So this line is one of the horizontal axes, parallel to the axis. Okay. Now another, we have vertical lines. This one, uh, the vertical edges. This one. Okay. So, kopyahin ko lang to, and that is our vertical edges. Okay. And while the width and the depth edges, so ito yon, isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat. And we have another, um, if width yung width ang isa ay depth, no? Or the length. So let's say, for example, this is our length. So length for our depth, no? And this one is our width. Okay? So that's it. So the characteristics of the isometric lines can be drawn directly by measuring along the isometric axis. So maintain their true dimensions in isometric drawing. So any line that runs parallel to isometric axis, take note, any lines that runs to the isometric axis is called the isometric lines. Now, these lines are easy to construct because their length or the depth, no, can be measured directly along the axis. So, not only the depth, but also the width. Okay? So, going to non-isometric lines. So, non-isometric lines is any line that is not parallel to the isometric axis. Now, take a look at the figure. This red inclined surfaces is one of the non-isometric lines. Again, because it is not parallel to isometric lines. No? Another example, aside sa inclined surfaces, we have sloping edges, diagonal features, angle cuts, and tapered sections. So, not parallel to any isometric axis is a non-isometric lines. And also, It cannot be measured directly along the isometric axis. Do not appear in the true length in an isometric drawing and must be constructed by locating their endpoints and then connect connect these endpoints to one another. So let's say for example, this inclined surface is constructed between these two endpoints, no? Okay? By connecting these points, makakagawa na tayo ng non-isometric lines. Often represents inclined or irregular features of an objects. Okay? So, since the length and angle, talking about length, this is the depth. It can be depth, it can be depth or length. It can be also width. So since the depth or length and also the width and also the angle of a non-isometric line cannot be transferred directly onto isometric drawing. So the correct procedure is to draw the isometric box or framework that contains the features. Okay, so locate the endpoints of the non-isometric line by measuring distance along the isometric axis and plot the points accurately and connect the points to form the inclined or diagonal line. Okay, so unlike isometric lines, non-isometric lines do not follow the direction of isometric axis. So therefore, they cannot be drawn simply by measuring their depth or width. Instead, we must determine the coordinates of their endpoints and then connect them. Take note, we must determine first the coordinates of their points and then connect them. Okay, so non-isometric lines are commonly encountered in engineering and architectural drawings because many objects contain inclined surfaces. No? We have jumpers, we have sloping roofs, we have ramps, and angular features. So, one of the example of the jumpers, this is what it looks like, no? So, etong gilid na to ay jumpers. No? This is etong portion na to. This one. No? So, these are jumpers portion. Okay? This one also. This is jumpers. No? Etong nag 45 degrees. No? I think 45 degrees ito. Okay? So, naka 45 degrees from the horizontal axis. Or more than 45 degrees etong dito sa gilid. No? So, again, so, basically, class, yung mga degrees, no, hindi natin siya ma-apply because ang gagawin natin, we must determine the coordinates of their endpoints. No? Hindi na di tayo magagamit ng protractor dito tapos hanapin natin itong inclined line. No? So, the basic procedure is to draw the isometric box of the framework that contains the features and locate the endpoints of the non-isometric line by measuring distance along the isometric axis, and then we will plot the points accurately, no? These endpoints of these inclined lines, and then we will connect now to form an inclined or diagonal line. Okay? So, again, non-isometric lines are commonly encountered in engineering and architecture or architectural drawings because many objects contain inclined surfaces, jumpers, slope roofs, ramps, and angular features. So understanding how to construct non-isometric lines accurately is essential by producing precise isometric representations of real-world objects. Okay, so I hope you get that, ano? Okay, so let's proceed. So we have types of isometric axes or orientations. Now, so let's talk about their definitions and applications. Okay, so in isometric drawings, we have the term normal axis and horizontal axis, which refers to the orientation of isometric axis used when drawing an objects. Okay, so we have normal axis. Huh? So normal axis used when the object is viewed from the front and right corner. Now, yung application niya class is um, in engineering, no? Most engineering and architectural isometric drawings. Okay, so we have another access method which is horizontal access methods, no? So the object is rotated so that the principal axis appears horizontal. Okay. So one of the major axes remains horizontal. Okay, so you can see we have horizontal positions or some position of an isometric axis. No? And it is useful for the long objects such as designing a pipe, no? Designing a beam, shaft, and channels. Okay, and also it improves drawing convenience and space utilizations. Okay, so it is basically applied. Huh? And the drawing application is for structural members, pipelines, and elongated components. Okay, so another types of isometric access, no, is the reverse access. No, is referred to another orientation of isometric access when drawing objects. So the reverse access is the mirror image of the normal axis. No, the vertical axis remains vertical. Take note, and the receding axes are reversed. So, use when the object needs to view from the opposite corner. No? Okay. So, it mirrors the normal axis. Now, in the applications, when the left side of the object contains more details, and it should be emphasized. Okay? So, take note, no? So talking about normal axis, this is a standard isometric orientation with 30 30 degrees axis. Horizontal axis, no? Main axis drawn horizontally and reverse axis mirror image of the normal axis. Okay, take note that the choice of the axis depends on which orientation best reveals the features of the object. So the normal axis is the standard arrangement, and the reverse axis is used to show the opposite side more clearly, and the horizontal axis is useful for long objects whose major dimensions extend horizontally. Okay? So that's the three types of isometric axis. Okay, so going to the angle in isometric drawings. Angles in isometric drawings. So this is another important characteristic of isometric drawing involves the representation of angles. While the depth can be measured directly along the axis, Angles, take note, angles generally do not appear in their true size. No? This is because of the distortion created by isometric projection. So inclined and angular features must constructed by locating their endpoints rather than measuring the angle directly. So these methods allow engineer drafters to accurately represent sloping features, no, jumpers, and inclined edges while preserving the overall shapes and proportion of the objects. Okay? So angles in isometric drawing. So angles cannot be measured with protractor. That's true, no? Since the axes of the isometric projections are not right angles to each other. Take note, ha? Angles cannot be measured with protractor in isometric projection since the axes of the isometric projections are not right angles to each other. Now, one of the important characteristics of isometric drawing is the angles. No? The angles do not appear in the true size. Unlike the orthographic drawings, where horizontal and vertical lines are drawn at right angles to each other. So the axes in the isometric drawing are arranged differently. Now, the vertical axis remains upright while the other two axes are drawn 30 degrees to the horizontal. So creating the angles of 120 between or 120 degrees between the isometric axes. Okay, so because of the orientation class, objects are viewed in pictorial manner rather than a direct front, top, or side view. So as the result, the appearance of the angles becomes distorted. No? So when the projection or projected uh, into an isometric view. So as a result, the appearance of the angles becomes distorted when projected into an isometric view. So for these reasons, a protractor cannot be used directly to construct or measure angles in isometric drawing. So an angle that measures 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, or even 90 degrees on the actual objects will not appear with the same angular value in the isometric projections. Take note, a protractor is designed to measure the angle on a flat plane where geometric relationship are preserved. So in isometric drawing, no, the axes are not perpendicular to one another, and the angles are visually distorted by the projection. And the apparent angle seen in the drawing is different from the object true angle. For example, uh, so we have here a let's say for example 90 degrees corner of the box. uh, So 90 degrees corner of the box remains a right angle in the actual objects. However, in isometric, no, the corner may appear as an angle greater than 90 degrees. So if the student measures apparent angle using a protractor, the reading will represent the true angle of the objects. Okay, so we have here the top view, the front view, no, in figure 7.1, no, angle in actually class this is orthographic drawing. Okay, so we have here figure 7.1, no. So in orthographic class, no, it represents 40 degrees. No? So 40 degrees from the edge of the drawing. That is orthographic drawing. While in presenting angle in isometric, again, angles cannot be measured with protractor in isometric projection, since the axes of the isometric projections are not the right angles to each other. Okay? So, now take note, how are the angles drawn in isometric drawing? So, instead measuring angles directly with protractor, no? So, the angles must determine the endpoints of the inclined line and measure distance along the isometric axis. Third, plotting the required points. And fourth, connect the points to create the desired features. So these methods ensures that the shape, the size, and the position of the features are represented accurately. Okay, so let's have an example. Suppose the plate. Now we have a plate, 45 degrees chamfer. And a 45 degrees chamfer is symmetrically sloped edge or corner cut at a 45 degrees angle. So it removes sharp corners and help parts fit together easily and add a clean look to wood, metal, or stone. In orthographic view class, the chamfer can be drawn directly as 45 degrees angle. But in isometric view again, no, the 45 angle will not appear as a 45 angle. The endpoints of the chamfer are located using dimensions, and the points are then connected to create inclined edge. Although the drawn angle appears different, the geometry of the object remains correct. Okay? So, I hope, no? Nasundan? Okay? So, one last thing. No? So, an angle cannot be measured directly with a protractor in isometric projection because the isometric axes are not differ from their true value. No? So, the projection causes angles to appear distorted, meaning their visual appearance differ from their true value. So, inclined surfaces of an angular features are constructed by locating point and connect them. And this approach help us to create accurate isometric representations. Okay, so no, here in the uh, figure 7.1 again, sabi ko nga, this is an angle drawn in orthographic drawing. So let me correct. This 7.1. Okay. So that's it. Huh? So draw an orthographic view of an angle as shown in the figure 7.1. Obtain the distance parallel to the axis on the drawing. Now draw an isometric view of angle and get the angle by marking off the distance obtained from the orthographic drawing. So much for the angles na, in isometric drawing. So proceed tayo with the circular arcs. Huh? Okay. So circular arcs or radii. Huh? So circular arcs. So you'll know that a circular arcs is a portion of a circle, no? While a radius is the distance from the center of the circle of a circle to any point of on its circumference. So in isometric drawing, circular arcs and radii do not appear in their true shape. No? So similar to circles, they appear as a portion of an ellipse and must be constructed carefully to maintain the correct isometric appearance. Okay? So these are the characteristic of isometric drawing in terms of circular axis. The construction for these arcs or radii is the same as for a full ellipse. Okay? So this is the full ellipse will now not be drawn, but only the part or portion of the ellipse that is needed. And when an arc is more or less than a quarter circle, it is sometimes possible to draw all or part of a complete isometric circle and use as much of it as needed. Okay, so we have here a circular arc, no? An arc or on curve in isometric drawing. Huh? Okay, so the characteristic of a circular arcs and radii in isometric drawing, the construction of isometric arcs and radii follows the same principle used in constructing a full isometric circle ellipse. However, instead of drawing the entire ellipse, only the required portion of the ellipse is constructed. No? Okay. So, for example, if only a round corner is needed, no? If only a round corner is needed, the only corresponding elliptical arc is drawn. No? So if a curved slat or fillet is required, only the specific segment of the isometric ellipse is constructed. No? As you can see on our figure 8.0. So this approach saves times and keeps the drawing clear and accurate. Okay, now the thickness, the thickness T of an objects, okay, in constructing isometric arcs and circle when drawing cylindrical objects, like pipes, like holes or um, circular figures or features with thickness in isometric view, it is necessary to construct both the front ellipse, the front ellipse and the rear ellipse. So these two ellipses represent the front and back surfaces of the objects. Okay. So the thickness, huh? So this means that the thickness of the objects determine how far the center used to draw the rear ellipse. Huh? So how far the centers used to draw the rear ellipse and must be shifted from the centers of the front ellipse. Okay, so when using four center method, okay, so four centers are identified to construct front isometric circles, no, which is the ellipse. And if the object has a thickness such as pipe, cylinder, or washer, another ellipse must be drawn behind the first one. Okay? To construct, okay, so take note of this. To construct the rear ellipse, locate the four centers used from the front ellipse. Excuse. Move these centers backward by a distance equal to the object thickness. Okay, so first locate the four centers used for the front ellipse and move these centers backward by a distance equal to the object thickness. Then the movement must follow the appropriate uh, the appropriate isometric axis direction depending on the orientation of the object. So using the relocated centers, draw the rear arcs. And then connect the corresponding edges to create the three-dimensional appearance of appearance of the objects. Now, talking about the thickness, no? The thickness represent the actual depth of the object. So without moving the centers by the correct thickness, the rear ellipse would not position correctly, resulting in an inaccurate representation of the object's depth. For example, a pipe with a thickness of 20 mm requires the rear ellipse to be located 20 mm behind the front ellipse. Huh? So behind the front ellipse along the receding isometric axis. Now, a cylindrical shaft with the length of 50 mm requires centers for the rear arcs to be shifted by 50 mm in the axis direction, representing its depth. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, class, no? The thickness is very important. No? So, thickness represents the actual depth of the objects. So, without moving the centers by the correct thickness, the rear ellipse would not position correctly. Okay? So, this is resulting in an accurate representation of the object's depth. Okay, so maraming application itong circular arcs and radii. And one of this is drawing a cylinder, no? A pipe, a bushing, a hollow tube, circular holes, passing through an objects, mechanical shafts, and circular protrusion. Okay, so when an object has a thickness or depth, a second ellipse is required to represent its rear surface. So the thickness designated as T and determine how far the center used in four center method. No? Okay. So the four center method must be moved to construct the rear ellipse. So these centers are shifted along the appropriate isometric axis by the distance equal to the object thickness. Once the rear ellipse is drawn, the front and the rear surface are connected, creating an accurate three-dimensional representation of the circular objects. Therefore, the thickness of an object determines the distance that centers for the rear arcs must be moved. And this ensures that the rear ellipse is positioned correctly and accurate represents the object's depth and in isometric drawing. Okay? So, so much for the circular arcs. Okay? So let's proceed with another characteristic of isometric drawing, which is the construction of the isometric circle. Huh? So actually, class, there are so many kinds of methods in constructing an isometric circle. One of these is the four-center method. Pangalawa, we have coordinate method. Pangatlo, ellipse template method. And pangapat is the CAD method. No? So we will tackle the four center method because this is the most method or common method in manual drafting. And take note, it is uses four tangent arcs and produces an approximate ellipse. Okay. In isometric drawing, a circle cannot be drawn as a true circle because the circle is viewed at an angle. Instead, it appears as an ellipse. Okay? So it appears as an ellipse. To represent the ellipse, no? So to represent this ellipse accurately in manual drafting, no? Engineers and drafters commonly use the four center methods. Okay. The four center method is the approximate drafting techniques, and it is used to construct an isometric circle by drawing four interconnected arcs from four different center. Take note, this technique used to construct isometric circle by drawing four interconnected arcs from four different centers. So this method produces a shape that closely resembles an ellipse and provides a practical way of representing circular features in isometric drawings. Okay? So we have here step by step to construct isometric circle. No? So first, we construct an isometric squares. No? And these squares is what we call rhombus. No? So those sides are equal to the diameter of the circle. Ibig sabihin, all sides are equal to the diameter of the circles. And then step 2, locate the midpoints. Locate the midpoints of the four sides. Draw the diagonals of the rhombus, and that is the step 3. For the step 4, now identify the four centers from which the arcs will be drawn. In step 5, using a compass, draw the first pair of the large arcs. Then draw the second pair of the smaller arcs tangent to the first arcs. And lastly, the four connected arcs from the isometric circle of the ellipse. Okay, so let's have another session, no? The part 2 of this lecture.